been quite a few highs this season, and they've certainly outweighed the lows. We've also seen some fantastic individual and team performances along with some impressive scorelines. But it's the Lions, we never do anything easy. It's bound to be a roller coaster ride. Losing out on automatic promotion the last game of the season was a bitter pill for us to swallow. I think this year's presentation has captured it really well. Hope you enjoy it. Personally speaking, it's been a tough year, and honestly there's been a few times when I could have quite easily wrapped it all up. It's been intense. Free time's a bit of a luxury. Jobs need doing around the house. Life pretty much stands still. But there's also been a task of trying to keep not just the Lions happy, but also the parents too. So that's been difficult as well. Sometimes I do my job for nothing, but you couldn't pay me my salary to do the Lions. But what makes it all special is the quirky bunch of kids that are the Lions. I knew this season would have its challenges, such as the development changes with the players, growth spurts, how much the players would want it. From a coaching perspective, I knew at some point my approach to the playing time and it would start to be reflected in the way some of the games were going. This saw it start to move from what previously been the approach that everyone was guaranteed a minimum of a half, no matter what was going on in the game. And this nearly saw us come unstuck a few times, and it was something that I needed to learn from. The future. September sees us move to an adult pitch, size 5 balls, playing time increases by another 10 minutes for the game, and as a team we need to do some engineering around playing styles, use of the pitch, and I'm sure that we'll more than hold our own. I don't know if he's mad. Graham MacDonald has kindly offered to start helping me with the team. He's a wealth of knowledge. He's previously run a team at Norton and has played at Northern League standard. His aim is to help me with the fitness, not just in team preparation for the new season, but also to get the Lions to up their tempo in the training, in the warm-ups, and in the matches. Yeah, I've done this presentation slightly different from the way I've done it previously. It's done as a recorded video. So I've done it whenever I've had the chance. Yeah, I'm sure some other chicks in all over the world, look at me with a post on Facebook. I've travelled a bit this year. Sit back, enjoy the presentation, and look where I've been to. Although George isn't a large physical player, he's never afraid of getting stuck in. George has good balance and technique, which he uses to go past players in tight areas. George is a popular teammate. He's a subject of arguments during training, with the opposition teams both fighting to have him on their side. I think this is a measure of his popularity within the team. Again, this relates to the Lions training sessions. As I said earlier, Georgie is a popular team member. However, one of the Lions takes great pleasure in trying her best to outskill him on every occasion and goes to far to ensure that she's on the opposite team from him. Sorry George, but she usually wins these battles. Jacob has improved his game this season and appears more confident and comfortable on the ball. He shows he has some versatility as towards the end of the season he played in a number of positions during the game against Hartlepool Warriors. I think this turned out to be one of Jacob's best games. To be honest, on the outside he's a bit miserable, but he isn't though. He's just a normal teenager, doesn't bother hiding how he feels. If he enjoys something, I know. Equally, if he doesn't enjoy something, I know that too. Thankfully, of late, Jacob has appeared happy, in particular in the latter half of the season. Certainly, the example was away at the game against Gisborough. He'd previously been subbed, and when I called him over to put him back on, his face was absolutely beaming. When Jacob turns up for training on matches, it usually looks like he's being dressed from the lost property box. More often than not, he turns up with the wrong shirt. 90% of the time he's wearing something that belongs to his dad. One occasion he was given a lift to the match by the McDonald's, and Max pointed out to him that he had a pair of his sister's knickers tucked to the velcro of his match day coat. Fantastic. Yusuf is universally recognised as the king of the goal line clearance. He's a very defensive type of player who isn't afraid to tackle anybody and always gives 100%. Yusuf is very well liked by all the team members. He's viewed as dependable, an unselfish player, and is always happy to pass the ball rather than go for the glory himself. Although he's a development player, he integrates within the team really well, and gives it his all during the training sessions. As I said earlier, Yusuf always gives 100% during training sessions. However, he's usually 10% later than everybody else. I suspect this is more to do with his chauffeur than with him. Finley was awarded the Most Improved Player last season, and this season he's consolidated that with some really strong performances in a number of positions. He's got himself on the score sheet and has done surprisingly well not to be sent off again. Working with Finley is pretty easy. I know what I get from him. Strong tackles, committed play, good attitude, and he seems really at ease to give me feedback, which is great from a coaching perspective. If I had a five of every time I'd shouted to Finn during matches to stay on your feet, I think I wouldn't be too far behind the McClone's latest windfall, part of the postcode lottery. In saying that, Finley's, his hard tackling is something that I really admire about him. Dan manages to transfer the skills gained from his basketball career directly into the football. And most notably his ability to deliver a fantastic throw. In addition to this, in a defensive role, Dan uses his height to his advantage to deal with aerial balls. Dan brings a calming and settling influence to the team, but at the same time he unnerves the opposition. During the home fixture against Gisborough, one of the opposition parents called out to their players, "Try and mark him. I know he's 7'12", but do your best." This has been Dan's first season with the Lions, and although we've had to share him with his basketball commitments, he's become a strong part of a defensive lineup. Dan has has had a great season, scoring 2 goals on his debut, and has fitted in really well with the Lions as a whole. Out of all the Lions, Jack's season's probably been the most up and down. He suffers a number of injuries, both on and off the pitch, and has seen as a result, has seen his playing time reduced. A high point for me though is when I brought him on late into the second half of the cup game against All Stars. And his surprise, it was as a winger. He got involved in some decent play, and ultimately ended up scoring a goal, only his second in his competitive career. really, other than keep his room tidy, doing his homework, stop being cheeky with his mum. But about football, I think it would be about for Jack is to believe it and then apply it, and then be a bit less like his mum, and then be more resilient to the cold. I think it's harder for Jack than it is for me. Making the distinction between a parent and a coach can be hard, but Jack tries his best, and rarely brings it personal or home issues to the coaching sessions. As with match play, Jack's personal resilience and self-belief can be a barrier to his success, but overall he's a committed and thoughtful lion. Out of all the lions, Max is by far the easiest to coach. He gets a training session outcome straight away, takes on board his individual tasks, and is a really intelligent footballer. Max has had a strong season, an improvement from last year. Max was plagued by illness, which thankfully hasn't reoccurred this year. Has allowed him to play a bigger part in match play. He's played in every position apart from in goal. He's never mourned once. It's a great season for Max, and I'm really pleased for him. That's an easy one for me. It has to be the cup game against 21st All Stars. Max was awarded Player of the Match for this game, and it was well deserved due to his commanding of the midfield and his work rate. Definitely one of his stronger games in an overall good season. To be brutally honest, he's a nightmare at times. In fact, pretty much most of the time. But that's who he is. When he turns up at the session, I ask him each time, what's his day been like? How was he? I think certainly with the likes of Frosty, it's the children don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. He gets bored easy, so he has to find things stimulating. Considering he was unsettled towards the end of last season and he didn't play for us again this year, it has to be the equaliser in the 4-4 thriller away at South Park. It was Fergie time. Frosty went past a few players in a weaving run, and he put the ball into the net with the last kick of the game, but the way he turned around and he smiled and the way players greeted him was just really nice to see. Personality, he's larger than life on the outside, a loyal friend, fiercely loyal in fact. He's massively comfortable with me, how we have a good laugh, and he knows my views on him, so he knows I'm a bit of a soft touch, but he thrives on collaborative working and not conflict. He's a sociable kid. Him and Rossi have usually got to be put on the same side in training sessions, otherwise they just stand and talk to each other all the time. He works hard and he must fall over 5 or 6 times per session easily. He's blistering pace, and he's adapted his game to start playing in a different position this year. He's another one that's comfortable talking to me, especially if he has any queries or just wants reassurance about, is he doing what I want him to do? I know the questions will ease off when everything starts to drop into place about understanding his role within the team. There've been a few this season with this player, but I'm going to pick out the slide and tackle in the away game at Northampton. It was a world-class tackle, so I was sprinting across the box, sliding in, taking the ball off the toe of the Northampton player, For it to be awarded as a penalty was, I think, was an absolute travesty. You know, he came up to me at the end of the game and just said, "I didn't touch him." You know, I reassured him by saying, "I knew he hadn't touched him." You know, the player knew that, and the referee knew that, because if he had, you know, the tackle it was, he'd have booked him. I think he took the shine off him for that game. You know, he did really well. Josh has a great touch with his left foot. You know, I'd go up the far say you know, it's, you could describe it as sublime, where he can just wait a short to medium distance pass. I do have to laugh at the way he shrinks, you know, the size of him down, just so he can avoid going and go during the sessions when it's, you know, when I'm looking for someone to take the turn. I have a massive amount of time for Josh. He's polite. That's extremely polite, in fact. Nothing is ever too much trouble for him. He's a great kid. He knows straight away what I mean when I ask, you know, just to try something different, a bit of an individual challenge. He knows straight away what I'm looking for. Josh is massively popular with the Lions. You know, and his friendship with Frosty is great to observe. They bounce off each other, you know, with the quips. You know, I think everyone enjoys Josh's sense of humour. You know, and then playing part of it, he really gets stuck in. Great kid. I really like my approach to, you know, how the play of a match would continue on to the next game as being captain. But watching Max, you know how he brought, you know, discipline and but cognitive strength to the Lions. You know, he was a worthy captain for me. He leads by example. He's honest in his work ethic. He's a role model. People won't know this, but when the penalty was given against us in the away game at Northampton, just before my yellow, Max approached the referee and asked him, you know, why is he giving a penalty? And the answer was received, you know, he was still on goal and he shouldn't have made a tackle. And Max replied, but Lewis got the ball. And for those that know Max or have known him for, you know, for some length of time, that would have been a massive deal for him once over. But he did it, you know, it's just part of the captain's duty. You know exactly what you should be there. That communication point between the players and the referee, fantastic, really good. Max gets it. His work rate is fantastic, and above all, he's consistent. He does get frustrated when others don't take sessions seriously or talk too much during training, but he comes and just has a bit of a moan to me about it. Which again, you know, it's nice that he's that comfortable with being able to do that with me. He's so laid back, but that's just his persona. He really gets some stick from Max and Adam when they're moaning at him to increase his work rate, but that's just who Oliver is. You know, he switches it on, he switches it off. I think his first session down with the Lions really sticks in my mind. I was impressed with him. He never played competitively before, just sort of kick around, but he had a great left foot and was really strong. I knew he could be a good player. He showed fantastic composure and strength in the away game at Gisborough, where he battled for everything, you know, and that was a really solid performance. He's pretty much always happy. I don't think I've ever seen him miserable. He can talk for England. In fact, he probably, if there was a competition for not shutting up for England, he could probably win that. On the pitch, he has good strength, great left foot, and you know, and he's brave. You know, you can't coach bravery. this season. He's worked hard. He's had a different approach to the game. I can set him little individual challenges, and he thrives on this. Just say, can he beat somebody? Can he apply a bit of skill? It's good to watch. How about really massive feet? Okay, yeah, again, yeah, balanced, skillful, gifted. I'd have liked to add a time machine back at under 11s to zoom forward into the future to now. This last season, and get him to look at at what I knew he could do, what his parents knew he could do, and just say to him, look what you can do for yourself. Gareth has a great sense of humour, and I think he'd laugh if his backside was on fire, which is a good thing because I've really given him some stick about his hair recently, and he takes it really well. Gareth brings security to the team, feeling behind a solid defence is a fantastic goalkeeper that's going to take some beating. He's competitive, committed, hard-working, and these traits massively benefit the Lions. This sounds like a negative question, but I know it's far from that, so I hope this response helps clarify it. Gareth's passionate, he wears his heart on his sleeve, but he cares. What I'd change would be how he beats himself up after things. The match will be over, some players have gone off to the car after negative results, and probably by the time they got to the car they've forgotten about what it is on the way home. But Gareth dwells on things, he relieves the match, and he's too hard on himself. She's a graceful balance to her football, and she makes it look effortless. I know I've said this before, but I could just watch how she moves the ball around over and over. She's naturally talented. She's a gifted footballer. Can I be greedy and mention three? I think there's the goal line clearance in the way game at Gisborough. She tracked the player back along the wing, 2/3 of the pitch, and then cleared the ball off the line just to steady the Lion ship when under pressure. There was the last ditch challenge on the edge of the box and the 1-0 home win against South Park, and there was a massive penalty appeal from the opposition, and she just knew that she'd made a good tackle, and they could tell that straight away. And finally, I think my favourite was the one in the away game again at top. They're then top of the league, Northallerton. Libby rounded 3-4 players, did a nutmeg, and put the ball in the net. That was just a real quality bit of play. Yeah, hope everyone's finished eating. When we were doing a minesweeping exercise in the field at Bedford Terrace just before we did a training session, Libby followed the drill and shouted me over because there was a dog poo in her sector. She then insisted I took a photograph of it because it looked like a question mark next to a dandelion. Here it is, see what you think.